everyone. There you can see the Nürburgring, which provides a backdrop to our race event here at the Nürburgring. Ferrari Racing Days here in the Eifel region of Germany. And we have the Coppa Shell AM qualifying drivers, or Coppa Shell AM drivers out for qualifying would be a better way of putting it, in just a moment. We're here at the Nürburgring, round 6 of our calendar. Round 7, of course, will be at Imola at the Finale Mondiali event. So we have 15 drivers who will go out and qualify for their second race of the weekend, which comes up on Sunday. All the qualifying sessions rammed into Friday because, being a Racing Days event, there is so much crammed into the weekend. Track temperature is currently 27 degrees, the air temperature 18 degrees, bit of high cloud around, or low cloud I should say, and 3 kilometers per hour of wind. That is all. So the Nürburgring track then, it's the stuff of legend, isn't it? 5.148 kilometers as it winds its way through the Eifel region. 15 turns, 6 of them are left, 9 of them are right-handers. Favorite points on the track for me, turn 1 and the final chicane, which is 13 and 14, where a good exit from turn 14 can set yourself up for an overtake going through turn number 1, because you need the perfect trajectory to build speed around the final turn all the way down the start-finish straight, which gives you the perfect opportunity going into turn 1. Louis Perusquia, you can see then the final stages of preparation for the Rosso Corsa racer, ready to get out there for his qualifying session 2. So I remind you that this qualifying will set the grid for race 2 to come on Sunday. Right at the head of the pack then is the Kessel Racing driver Jan Sandman. Made his debut in the Ferrari Challenge in Europe this year and has gone about his job really rather well, taking a race win in the second race at Portimao in Portugal. Has had some podiums as well, and he's one to watch out for, as indeed is Dr. Stephen Earle from Kessel Racing, and also one to look out for is my colleague alongside me from not so far from this region of Germany, Nico Spalek. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Dave. Yes, indeed, a home gig not only for quite a few of the Ferrari Challenge drivers, also for me. So welcome to my part of the world. It's great to have all the Ferrari family here at the Nürburgring. As you said, it's such a vibrant paddock, it's such a great place, and it's always such an unpredictable affair here at the Nürburgring, with the weather and the climate and the microclimates in certain parts of the circuit, let alone the circuit as a whole. So it's good we have a dry track, unlike this morning, no fog, even though the sun is still tentatively making an appearance maybe for later this afternoon. For the moment, firmly overcast, but no direct threat of rain, and we're about 45 seconds or so away from this session getting underway.
I would also say there's no direct threat of any sunshine at the moment either, which is a little bit disappointing, but there we are. So, as I mentioned then, 15 of our Shell AM drivers that will be out there. Shell AM drivers delineated by the black strip across the top of the windscreen, and there you can see the cars lining up ready to get out for their qualifying session, literally just seconds away from that light going green. And well, there is the 134 car of Mutlu Tarzev, who had a good time of it in qualifying earlier on today. So we'll see what Mutlu is able to do. We've only got about 9 seconds to wait before we get this session underway. The Ferrari Challenge, Coppa Shell AM qualifying, and right at the end of the pit lane then the light goes green, and the first to show is Jan Sandman, then it is Stephen Earle, then it is Josef Schumacher, then it's Andrea Levy, then it is Shintaro Akatsu, as the rest of the cars all make their way out of the paddock there. Alvaro Ramos in the 150 car we can see, and now that is turn number 1. I mentioned in our track preview that it's one of my favorite parts of the track, because you carry so much speed down the start-finish straight. Then you've got this right-hander, which is almost a hairpin. Not only is it quite a sharp right turn, you're running downhill at the same time. So there are so many factors going on in terms of trying to get the perfect line through turn number 1, and there is more than one line through turn 1. So that's going to be a place to really watch out for in the racing, which of course starts tomorrow in our Ferrari Racing Days weekend here at the Nürburgring. Roland Hurtner, Lisa Clark, two of the cars that you can see there. Lisa Clark, Coppa Shell-Am champion in the USA last year in the North American series. We'll be heading off back across the pond, as they say, to Indianapolis next weekend. It's the round at that famed Brickyard circuit. And of course in the UK it's the Silverstone round as well. So always lots going on in the world of Ferrari Challenge, which stretches out around the world, Nico.
Absolutely, and I mean, if you combine Nürburgring, Indianapolis, Silverstone, and I believe there is a Japanese round coming up fairly soon as well. So all the venues, all the circuits, it has a magical ring to it, and then you add the Ferrari Challenge and the prancing horse, and it just becomes irresistible.
Yes, you're right. Ferrari racing in Japan with its own series there in Japan as well, and of course all the focus of drivers around the world in the Ferrari Challenge, with those regions then Japan and North America and the UK, and of course here in Europe. And may I add, also being added into the mix is Australia next year. Wow, what a season 2025 is going to be. So then, Jan Sandman was first out of the pit lane, and he's the first to get his installation lap done and dusted. And Jan Sandman will now be doing his first fast lap, I would have suggested, with 27.5 minutes remaining in the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell-Am qualifying. And, well, very roughly half of the cars out on the track. And they include Shintaro Akatsu, Louis Peruskia, Guy Favet, Stephen Earle, who we were watching, of course, Jan Sandman that we're looking at right now. Josef Schumacher's also out. So too is Roland Hurtner and Lisa Clark, and as if by magic, there indeed is the Lisa Clark car. So for Pellin Racing, Lisa Clark driving car number 130, the 296 Challenge car, which was introduced into the Ferrari Challenge this season and has been introduced with such warmth from the drivers as well, who absolutely love driving this racing car. One of the more multicolored cars is that of Josef Schumacher, you can see here. And when you have the blank canvas of a 296 Challenge car, which we've mentioned more than once, then you have got the ability to add your own personality to the color scheme. And I think that really tells the story of just what a lively personality Josef Schumacher is, Nico, with a particularly ebullient color scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. It does fit the character, and it's great to see the drivers and the teams and everybody express themselves, not only in their driving style, but also in livery. And talking about driving styles, Jan Sandman certainly gave everything through the chicane, and the car was a little bit unsettled in parts, but Jan kept it together, kept control, and is heading towards the timing line. A 2:04.824 is our first very provisional benchmark in this qualifying session. We've mentioned it before, usually qualifying too, when it's on the Sunday, means that the drivers initially go out on the Pirelli P0s they use in the Saturday race.
Yes.
Just to get the cars, get themselves into rhythm and everything, then change to a new set of Pirelli P0s and then go out about qualifying in earnest. That strategy certainly isn't available here, because unless you find a time machine somewhere in the paddock, you haven't done race one yet, so you have to approach this effectively like you approach a qualifying one. Just, you know, fresh set of tires, which is going to be used now and then is put into cold storage until Sunday and the race comes along.
You're absolutely right. Here comes Eric Chung then, and Eric Chung, another long-standing driver in the Ferrari Challenge, who's had a win and many, many podiums this year. Eric Chung then on his qualifying. It's Jan Sandman from Josef Schumacher, Guy Favet, Andrea Levy, Shintaro Akatsu, Alvaro Ramos, Louis Peruskia. They're the top 7 at the moment out of the 15 drivers or so that will all be contesting this qualifying. So Eric Chung with quicker than anyone Sector 2, quicker than anyone Sector 1. Therefore, if he nails it all nicely through turn 15, the final turn, heads to break the timing beam, he should go provisionally P1, I would suggest, as he breaks the beam now with a time of 2:04.368. That was 4.5 tenths quicker than this man, Jan Sandman. But look how he's improving now. He's caught some traffic which may have really nosed up this lap for him, because he was on a huge improvement trajectory, Nico. But he caught traffic just at the wrong time through the chicane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a very short track, but especially through the chicane, there is just nowhere for the other cars to go. Now, it is an improvement, and it's P1, but
he probably lost 4 tenths, I reckon, 4 or 5 tenths.
Yeah, definitely. There was still more, and, you know, on the one hand, you can say, lost it.
Yes.
On the other hand, you know you've got the pace in the car.
Yes.
Now, there is a limited number of opportunities how much you can stress and how much you want to stress the tires in qualifying. So I'm not trying to sell that as a positive. But, you know, knowing that you have the pace must also do something for you in your psyche as a driver.
Of course, it's got to give you some confidence, hasn't it? So Sandman with a 2:02.686. He is the only driver into the 2:02s. Now, Stephen Earle has produced an excellent lap. Stephen Earle, who's coached by Andrea Fausti, has pushed a 2:03.912. Here's Shintaro Akatsu, who in Quali 1, Nico, was looking very, very lively. And he has improved 3 places, goes to P4 right now. So Shintaro Akatsu, the Yaniko driver, doing a good job out there. Interestingly, we've already got a track limits warning, which means a lap time has been deleted for Josef Schumacher for exceeding the track limits. Now, Jan Sandman has got Shintaro Akatsu ahead of him. Now, Jan Sandman already has improved through Sector 1. It wasn't Jan Sandman that we were looking at, I think. That may have been the... I may have been getting confused with the car. Another car with a very similar colour scheme to Jan Sandman. As Eric Chung goes quickest now with a 2:02.008. And here's Jan Sandman then. Well, he got that chicane absolutely wrong, Nico. And that will have cost him dearly, I would suggest. So he's lost that provisional pole, but he'd done that before he got to the chicane because Eric Chung had posted a better lap. This is not going to be a better lap from Jan Sandman. He's going to have to build it all over again. And not only that, he did exceed the track limits at the chicane.
Well, whether that gave him an advantage is debatable, but track limits are track limits. It's academic here anyway. So here we are, Shintaro Akatsu, 21 minutes remaining, personal best. He did get his first podium back in Le Castellet, and he worked so hard.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
It was, you know...
richly deserved.
It was richly deserved, and at some point it felt like there was a jinx to it. And even in the race where he did get the podium, he spun around, helped by another driver, but he recovered, he kept his foot in, and he did get that podium. And you could see with the team and himself that was a great relief to finally have that monkey off his back, or that to-do checked off his list, and now he's maybe able to drive a little bit more freely and see about getting that first win.
Yes, here is Jan Sandman then, and this was the track limits violation, I would suggest, as his trajectory through the chicane was neither optimum nor legal.
Indeed, he did kiss the apex. It's just sometimes you kiss the apex from the wrong side, which can get the wrath not of your girlfriend, but of race direction, and that's just what happened.
Josef Schumacher has just delivered a 2:01.900. Is that going to be bested now by Eric Chung, who breaks the timing beam, indeed, by 7 tenths quicker? So a 2:01.208 from Eric Chung. And Josef Schumacher, P2. Then it's Andrea Levy, Jan Sandman, Shintaro Akatsu, Stephen Earle, Guy Favre, Mutlu Tarzev. Now, one driver, Nico, that we've not seen yet out in qualifying is the man that's done so much winning this season and so many Rotiform pole position awards. That's Zoe Skrimpias. He's leaving it to the second or the final 2/3 of the qualifying session.
Absolutely, our Greek sensation, the man who had never driven in a race, professional or any race event before this season. As Josef Schumacher, he responds and takes P1 back again. It's a 2:00.691, so we might just see the 2-minute mark, which we've waxed lyrical about in previous sessions.
Nearly got caught with our pants down.
We might, metaphorically at least,
yes, of course.
we might see that under threat. Yes, Zoe Scrimpias, he has done such a great job of establishing himself from the first race that he entered, and he still has more podiums to his name than he has races entered by virtue of the pole position awards, because he's exactly one race where he didn't end up on the podium, if memory serves correctly. Everything else he has podiumed, and most of those podiums consist of a P1 finish.
Yes.
So you know, you can imagine what that does to your championship standing. It's not too harmful. As we watch Mutu Tasev currently in P8, he hasn't quite achieved the same lofty heights as Zoe Scrimpias, but he is going strong and he has had his fair share of success, and a P5
improves 3 places.
Is very creditable.
So Schumacher from Chung, from Levy, from Sandman. Then it's Tasev, Aketsu, Earl, Fave, Beruskia, Ramos, and Lisa Clark. Now this is really interesting because Jan Sandman was in the car, was out of the car, is getting back in the car again now. Now, did he need to take a comfort break? Did he just feel that actually the delta was such that he'd done the best he could until someone went even better and he thought, right, I need to go out and try and improve? We won't know the questions or the answers to those questions until I've asked him. And right now, he would really rather not be disturbed by me. So we'll leave him to his preparations. Andrea Levy then, the Rosso Corsa racer. I don't think this is going to be an improvement on his P3 place because Sector 1 and Sector 2 are colored dark gray. And sure enough, he doesn't improve. And he's about 1.2 seconds down on the time posted by Josef Schumacher, which I remind you is the only time into the twos, a 2:00.691. Everyone else is 2:01 or 2:02. Shintaro Akatsu is one of those drivers. In fact, a 2:03.2 is the best that he has delivered, which is enough for P6, which would be a third row start. My calculations are correct. And I rather think that Shintaro is being prepared to get out again and give it another go. He drives, of course, for the Ineco team, so he's effectively teammates to this man, Zoe Scrimpias, who the Wonder Man that Nico was talking about just a few moments ago, up until his entry into the Ferrari Challenge last year. Last year, at the beginning of this year, I beg your pardon, had not driven a racing car. Absolutely remarkable success story, and actually some testament to how good the 296 Challenge car is to drive. He's took to it like the proverbial duck to water as Andreas Koenig, the Go Motorsport Haupt racing team, in unfamiliar colours because he's in a spare car this weekend, which I think Andreas would be the first to admit he's struggled to find the familiarity with this car that he has with his previous car. The reason for that is you set the car up and you get everything to your liking, and it becomes almost like a well-fitting glove, doesn't it? You're so at one with the car. Andreas has not found that with the spare car thus far, but every single lap that he takes is getting closer. As Josef Schumacher in conversation with Herbert Guys, you can see on our split screen shot there. So Josef Schumacher has obviously decided that he cannot better his 2:00.691 and is sitting out the final 15 minutes of the qualifying session. Is 5/10 enough of a margin for you to sit out the remaining half of the session, Nico?
No, I don't think so. I mean, 50 minutes is easily enough to put the helmet back on, get into the car, and do something more. At the end of the day, we always talk about how good it is to achieve your best position with the least amount of laps that you can do. So It's just tire preservation maybe, and maybe it's just, wait and see, and if I feel the need later on. In any event, I'm not overstressing the tires when I don't need to. Andreas Koenig, he needed to do something, and he went up from P9 to P3.
So 6 places gained by Andreas Koenig in 1 lap. Well done, Andreas. There's Josef and Herbert then. And here is the 120 car of Guy Fabet, the driver for Scuderia FMA, who's posted a 203.964. That's better to a 203.912. And Zois Grimpias at the moment has not really posted a meaningful lap time because he's P14 and certainly not where we would expect to see him. So he continues through the kink, which is turn 12, heading up towards this chicane right now. The Anico Rabata Corsa Ram driver rams the car across the curbs and heads towards turn 15, the final turn here at the Nürburgring. Rounds it and heads towards breaking the timing beam. And from P14 he goes to P3. So found some significant time in that lap and a 2:01.358, which is 6.5 tenths away from Josef Schumacher's time, but it is enough to give him P3, and he'll struggle on the next lap, Nico, because he's got traffic ahead of him. Yeah,
potentially, and we will monitor and we will see what that does to him. Andreas Koenig, he was relegated from P3 to P4 by Zois Grimpias. Andreas Koenig is going again, and he's had a very good first sector, not purple, but at least a strong personal best. So 12.5 minutes remaining. Second sector, not quite as good, so half a second behind on aggregate. That means he's still on par, maybe for an improvement, but not for a lofty height at the end of this lap. Talking about lofty heights, who is doing what? Talal Shahir is moving up the order. We see Mutlu also with a good first sector. So Grimpias, as you predicted, this lap is nothing that will trouble the front row. So we can focus on the likes of Mutlu who is now entering that back straight, which has a significant kink in it, but it still is a full throttle part of the track. And it then feeds into this chicane, which has featured quite significantly already in this session and in many others before. Second sector by Mutlu still good for an improvement. Sector down after 2 seconds, so can he do something about that? Lisa Clark gives a little bit of a slipstream, and Mutlu moves up into P6.
So an improvement of 3 places gained then, as steadfastly staying in that P1 position is Josef Schumacher. No one able to best that is Eric Chung going to be able to do so. I would suggest on the cumulative time thus far, this lap is not going to be the one to do it. Eric Chung had delivered a 2:01.208, which is just 5 tenths down on the Eberlein Schumacher racing driver Josef Schumacher. So Eric Chung, and you can see there the cumulative time is 1.3 seconds down. So he'll probably use this as a prep lap for this lap to come after he crosses the timing line and goes for it all over again. 100% on the loud pedal, lights being flashed at traffic ahead. Eric Chung on his way. And Roland Hurtner. Wow, that was a good improvement. 7 places improved by Roland Hurtner, who goes to P4. Josef Schumacher, Eric Chung, Roland Hurtner, Zois Grimpias. Now, here's Jan Sandman, another driver that we expect to see an improvement from. And I'm not wrong to say that, because Sector 1 and Sector 2 are both painted purple. So into turn 15 he goes. Nicely just kissing the apex, then letting the car come out to the outside before absolutely nailing the throttle pedal and crossing the timing line with a time of 1:59.809. Jan Sandman.
Absolutely, that is the quickest time we've seen thus far. Granted, we had very different tarmac and weather conditions over the day, but this is the quickest one that we've seen so far. And it was a much needed cushion, because Zois Grimpias is putting in a quick time. Roland Hurtner is, Eric Chung is. So that was a timely lap by Jan Sandman to secure a significant lead at the top of the standings. And there is the man. There is Zoe Scrimpias rounding the final turn. The lap time that he is looking for would have been pole time at the beginning of the lap. It isn't now. It's 1.1 seconds down. So you see how good that time of Jan Sandman just really, really was. But it is improvement by Scrimpias. P3 for the time being. There is Eric Chung. It's just overtaking the 119 car of that is Luis Peruskia actually. And I think that the overtake into the chicane may have cost Eric Chung a little bit of time. We will see where the clock stops, but it's certainly not on the 159s. No, quite a bit behind the 2:02.016. So we've got 8.5 minutes remaining, and it feels like the leaps and bounds and the inroads into the times have subsided a little bit now. It's not about seconds now, it's more about tenths and 100ths. Where will the clock stop for Zoe Scrimpias? 7 1,000ths.
So you can see his team on the pit wall there from the Ineco Rapata Corsa Ram team, watching his every move, watching his every centimetre around this really rather demanding Nürburgring circuit. Zoe Scrimpias needs to make the difference. He's got just under 8 minutes to do it. And you can see the clock on the top left-hand side of your screen counting down this 30-minute qualifying session for our Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am drivers. Zoe Scrimpias being the best of those at the moment in terms of championship points all, as he takes the kink, which is turn 12, absolutely full chat flat, brakes, and he's not exactly full chat flat through the chicane in terms of where the wheels are on the ground. And honestly, in Sector 2, lost a bit of time. And I think he's building himself now for another lap. I think the delta wasn't there on his screen. He knew he wasn't going to be able to deliver. So here he goes again, Nico.
Yeah, definitely. It was more than a second that he lost in the second sector. I didn't quite see one specific thing that was the difference.
This might be it.
Now that's turn number 1, and I think first sector was still very good.
Fair point.
Not sure if we will find out, but in any event, he is going again. Also going again, Eric Chung with a good sector. Tawal Shahir with some improvement. So 6 minutes and 37 seconds as Eric Chung goes up to P2. Josef Schumacher, you said it, he's out of the car, and he's still out of the car, and with 6.5 minutes remaining, if he wants to do something about him dropping down the order, he would have to do it fairly quickly. We'll report when we see any change in that. There is Tawal Shahir. We talked about his first sector, which was fairly good. The second sector, still personal best and still possible to improve on this lap. Will it be enough? We will find out. Zoe Scrimpias also improving, and that's a purple first sector. But and you can see that on your screen. But Tawal Shahir, he's heading for the timing line. Currently 8th in.
Lost time in the last sector and actually only improved 1 place. I think he was hoping for more than that. Here is Zoe Scrimpias then, and he, of course, is chasing down the time of Jan Sandman, that 1:59.609. A remarkable time from Jan Sandman. Let's have a look at Zoe Scrimpias, his cumulative time. He's lost some time, Nico. And really is much more aggressive across the curbs of the chicane right now. Has that bought him enough to head around turn 15 and to the timing line and to better a 1:59.609, which has been boasted by Jan Sandman? No, it is very nearly a second down. So it's P3. At the moment, it's Jan Sandman from Eric Chung. Both of those drivers are P1 and P2, Kessel and Formula Racing. Then Ineco Rapata Corsa Ram with this driver, Zoe Scrimpias. Here is Eric Chung, the Formula Racing driver, who is determined to wrestle P1 away from Jan Sandman into the final 5 minutes of this session. Now, Nico, crucially, Jan Sandman has come into the pit lane. he is not going to be able to go again. There you can see him. Charlie Hollings is his driver coach. Now, Jan has done, what, 10 laps, Nico?
Yeah, 10 laps, and compare that to 6 laps by Josef Schumacher.
He's going to have fresher, Pirelli.
Yeah. I mean, there is some question marks to the weather on Sunday, so if it rains and you go out on wets, all the tire wear is kind of academic, but it's the Nürburgring. You never know. It might still be 30 degrees, even though it's a little bit unlikely, but you never know. So it's definitely too early to make that part of your strategy. Tal Al-Shea, he is finishing that lap. Others are still quick, so Scrimpias, as you would expect, is still quick. Andreas Koenig is trying also. No improvement on this occasion, and yeah, we see him quite a bit, and well deserved.
Zeus has got to find nearly a second though, Nico. And his sector times, not sure he's on for this because sector 1 and sector 2 are very dark grey, Nico.
Yeah, the first one was only 17/1000, so it was slower, but it was marginal. But the second one, again, almost a second.
There's Manu Gosner watching on. She, of course, is from the same team and therefore, as a teammate, urges her colleague on. And he's going to need some urging as Charlie Hollings is in there talking to Jan Sandman. Jan Sandman at the moment has delivered a 1:59.609. He's the only driver into the 59s, a 1:59. And oh, talking of 1:59, here's Roland Hurtner driving the car of that number. Now, Roland Hurtner is P5 in quali for Gome Motorsport Engsler with a 2:01.272, but he's done a personal best through Sector 1, so this could be an improvement for Roland Hurtner. Josef Schumacher, who was P1 for ages, now finds himself P4. The middle sector got away from Roland a little bit. Can he wrestle some time back in the final sector? We're about to find out as he heads towards the timing line now. Target a 1:59.609. We know he's off that. And actually, Sector 3 was not so good for Roland Hurtner, who can, of course, go again because there's 2 minutes remaining on the clock, Nico.
Yeah, unlike some other qualifying sessions, we're not seeing the drama building. Now, does that mean that nobody has a chance to come up with a miracle lap out of the blue? Certainly, that is a possibility.
As we speak, Nico, he's readying his rental car.
No.
Not.
No. It's not a Ferrari.
So, across the line, and yeah, you're right, we're not seeing the improvements we expected. Now, has Shintaro Akatsu found it in Sector 1? Well, he has found a little in Sector 1 because he's gone personal best in Sector 1.
Yeah, and Shintaro, he has, and we've spoken about his first podium, he had really had this trajectory. He was always there. He was very entertaining has been throughout the entirety of the season. He's not putting it together quite as much here, and also that second sector isn't quite there. Eric Chung, he is pushing again, and he arguably would feel like, okay, I'm not on the front row. Thus, putting too much stress onto the tires.
Yeah.
Is it worth it for one more position?
It's this risk-reward calculation, Nico, and neither you nor I, being as clever as you are, certainly not me, knows what's the best strategy here. And this is something that Eric will have discussed with his team, and actually his second sector was not a good sector, Nico. There is Corinne, his wife, loyal supporter as well, always in the paddock, and Eric remains P2. Now, he can go again if he wants to, Nico, because he crossed the timing line with 21 seconds remaining in the session.
Yeah, and I mean, Eric Chung is one of the super and hyper experienced drivers here. Yes. There you can see how he's attacking those chicane curbs and really taking a little bit of a shortcut, but that in return unsettles the car. Let's see, Zoe Scrimpias, he is just completed Sector 1 with a decent enough time, but is not good enough to trouble the front row, so I rather think that Zoe Scrimpias will be off the front row on this occasion.
It's almost unprecedented, Nico.
Yes, it is, in his racing career.
I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? Almost unprecedented. yeah, I mean, his cumulative time, look at Sector 1, it's just, he's bailed it. He's bailed it. You can see that. I'm not going to stress these tyres anymore. I've done the best I can do, and the best that he can do is going to be a P3 start for Zoe Skrimpias. So Jan Sandman, who of course took his first win in the Ferrari Challenge this year, to my knowledge has taken his first pole position, Nico, this year. And is congratulated by his coach, Charlie Hollings. And well done, Jan. He will be receiving the Rotiform Pole Position Award, which is some really rather nice artifact to add to your mantelpiece. Just trying to listen into what Charlie is saying to him, but I can't hear it. And therefore, if I can't hear it, you can't. And it's not because I'm trapping over them. I couldn't hear it. I'd have loved to have heard what Charlie was saying.
Yeah.
We'll give you the full and confirmed classification any moment now as the cars are making their way into the pit lane. But the big news coming out of the Nürburgring early this afternoon, local time, 15:11:33, is that this man, center screen right now, Zoe Skrimpias, is not pole because this man is Jan Sandman, driver of the 186 car for Kessel Racing. And as I say, to the best of my knowledge, I think it's Jan's second pole. Thank you, Nico, for correcting me. I thought it might be his first. It's his second. You're right.
Yeah, he had his perfect day at Portimao Sunday, got the pole position, fast lap, and the race win. That was his day in the sun, and he hopes that the combination of Friday afternoon and Sunday becomes another day in the sun for him.
Maybe so.
And I mean, he is currently P4 in the championship, but P2 certainly is in play. I think Zoe Skrimpias was 70 points of a difference.
Yeah, that's...
yeah, I think realistically that...
You'd need 4 DNFs from Zois, wouldn't you?
Yeah, plus every fastest lap and everything.
Yeah.
But, well, it is what it is. And he did everything that he could in this session. Eric Chung also with a good showing. He's currently P2 in class. So him being ahead of Zoe Skrimpias at least does something for his chances in the championship.
I see the left jump onto the shoe. On the left, 3/10. The problem that you want to jump also to the right. Right, you're not to jump to the left.
Can't jump left and right through the chicane, apparently. You make your decision, Nico. Confirmation of the qualifying then. Jan Sandman, well done, second pole position. Eric Chung, P2. Zoe Skrimpias, P3. Josef Schumacher, P4, ahead of Roland Hurtner, Talal Shayer, Andreas Koenig, Stephen Earl. They occupy the top 8 positions, and they are followed by Shintaro Akatsu. He takes P9. Then it's Andrea Levy who takes P10. And those 2 drivers are ahead of Mutlu Tazev, Guy Fave, Alvaro Ramos, Lisa Clark, and Louis Peruskia, completing the classification for the 15 drivers in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am. The next time you will see those cars with the black strip across the top of the windscreen will be in their race 1 tomorrow. From Nico and myself, bye-bye.